I just remember, so when Biden won, there was lots of videos of people dancing on the street, right? And like celebrating and shit. And then, after those 3 years that they got nothing out of it, it's pretty funny. Now I want to know what would happen if Trump wins in a place like New York that is so liberal and so willing to just break shit in in the at no point, as soon as something that goes against them, or their politics, because this thing with the cop, like, okay, like I understand the BLM protests or whatever. I mean, I don't understand, I don't justify that shit, but I think it would be very interesting to see what happens to that city, especially if Trump wins. And I think I'm gonna be there like maybe the day after or the day off. So that should be exciting.
Yeah, maybe, maybe not. Might be really boring. In fact, I don't know if anything will happen. All of that stuff seems dependent on. I guess it would be Alex Soros now. He lives in New York. It would be dependent on what they want to happen because I didn't believe the shit before about, oh, they're importing bricks, they're doing this and that, but now I totally believe it. I believe that. I believe the burst pipe at 3 a.m. on 2020 is not a burst pipe. It's actually them loading up the ballot box. I believe all that. And I think that's a lot of people that were once skeptical, that were like, yeah, that's a little harebrained. And then you see how civilization progresses and these people reveal their true colors, and it's not far fetched whatsoever. So I think that's more if the elites want people to riot so they can start to set the tone of the culture, then that'll happen. These people are useful idiots. The ones who flooded the subway, that was a pretty compartmentalized protest. That didn't really affect the city at large. That was made out to be bigger than it actually was. It wasn't
Okay.
that serious of a thing, but it did happen, and there were a lot of people in that video. So if you were on that block or you're trying to commute and that's your subway home, man, that is a problem. That's a problem for you. But New York
That's
City is a
yeah.
big place. So here's really what I would imagine happening because I didn't imagine 2016 that people would then go out to the streets and do their pussy hat protest, which was a total embarrassment. I don't think that's
Yeah.
happening this time. If that happens, but does that happen? The polls are now saying Kamala's back in the lead. The
All right.
betting odds are now favoring Kamala. Everything post debate has favored her because Trump came off the loser in it. He came off, but do the debates matter? Because we look back at 2016 and I wouldn't say that Trump was a lock winner for many. He was hilarious. It was very funny. We'd never seen anything like that before in American history. And there's a hell of a lot of sound bites that came out of it. So maybe he won in the hearts of the American public, but he didn't win the debate in any form. And then 2020, you could really go either way with that because Biden was a mess for different reasons than your typical candidate. The only one that Trump won was the recent Biden debate from over the summer, which I think they knew that was going to be the case, which is why they made it earlier than ever. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, let's do this just so. And why, if you're Biden or Biden's wife, I guess, or Hunter or somebody, catch a whiff of that and go, no, we're going to do the debate about 2 weeks before the election. I think we'll do that. I think we'll do that.
That was
And
a
here's the
mistake.
thing.
That was I think an ego issue. I think they were not willing to just accept reality, and instead they were like, "Oh yeah, yeah, he's fine," knowing that he's not, hoping that maybe they could drug him enough for a couple of hours for him to work. But I think he's gotten to a point where drugs don't work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what you get now, and I think that the thing about this Trump win in that debate is like, how could you not win that debate? I think that's the biggest thing, right? Where it's like that doesn't really make you look that good when the person that you're going against has a third of a brain and can
Sure.
barely keep up
But
and
the
is
difference
looking
was, yes, yeah, yeah.
like a
People didn't
gremlin.
know. I mean, the people on that side didn't know. They lied to themselves. And
Yeah.
that made them forced to witness that. And there were people in the center who don't like Trump who went, well, he's presidential. He's showing himself to be presidential here. So there was that aspect in play. With Kamala, it was the same thing again. It was, she's showing herself to be presidential. I can picture this. So now it's an easier vote, which is bad. But do you believe all that? Do you believe the polls? And the betting market, I think, is much more damning and indicative. But what did the betting market look like? And I don't like playing, oh, but in 2016 and 2020, because now it's as accepted as it's ever been that you can root for Trump or vote for Trump. You're not a Nazi white supremacist really anymore. The crazy fucking shit libs will believe that and say that.
Yeah.
But if you're a normal person, most people are kind of hearing you out. And I think a lot of that has to do with like just working class people of all
Mm,
races being like, I'm tired of this shit. I'm losing fucking money. Now it's
yeah.
serious. And unless you're just a poor government leech that fucking can't survive on your own and you can't do anything to support yourself, you don't see that. You know, you don't see that if you're that type of person. If you're a fucking drain on the system, you don't see that. So you can make generalizing statement like it's 2016 all over again. You're living in a
Yeah.
delusional. So if you're on one side of the spectrum, which is completely just you have nothing, you're living out of a fucking shack, or if you're wealthy enough that you can just take on all of the problems that a Democrat presidency in 2024 or 2022 to 2024 can dole out and it doesn't really affect your pocketbook, then you're not aware to this sort of thing. That's just, you're oblivious to it. It doesn't matter. It's not a real thing.
Well, that's where you're getting people like Ben Stiller being like, "Oh, so much excitement about Kamala and so excited about voting for
Yeah,
her
he
and this
doesn't know
new."
shit. He
Mhm.
obviously has not paid attention. He's been
Yeah,
in his own little world, his own little.
of
He's not thinking
course.
about the presidency. He's probably not even showing up to vote. So it's not even really, it's not that. But I back to the original question was, do you believe that Kamala's actually got the advantage and will she win?
No, I
Because intuitively, I feel different from what my brain is telling me.
I'm honestly, it's very difficult for me to believe anyone that would support her and not just be a chill for the side. You know how there's people that just vote for their party no matter what. I've never seen a politician that's less impressive
Mm-hmm.
than her, and that's saying a lot, especially in American politics, because literally anyone could be a politician. But I feel like every time she opens her mouth is either to lie or to regurgitate. Is that
Mm-hmm.
how you pronounce it? Regurgitate
Gurgitate.
uh points that have already been uh debunked as false. But because she has the entire media behind her, no one's calling her out on it. But it's very difficult for me to believe that people are in their bubble enough where their party is pretty much telling them, hey, Biden's fine. He's your president and he's stronger than Trump. And hey, he got the most votes in history. And then from one day to the other, it's like, oh, never mind about this guy. She's, the worst vice president in the history of America, which is what she was called before she was the nominee, right? Because no one knew what she did. And
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that she was publicly assigned to, which was the border, she never even went, I don't think. And then all of a sudden, the entirety of not just media, but like the left politics are touting her as like this fucking genius new figure that no one knows anything about. And she's clean and clear and perfect. And then people fall for it. What all you need to do is just fucking Google her name to see what she's done. And that should be enough to not qualify her as like not a candidate or like a valid person to even vote for. So for me, it's very difficult to believe these polls just because I couldn't imagine sitting with someone and then asking them, okay, so why are you voting for her? And then having them having an argument that's not just, well, I don't want to vote for Trump. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's literally the argument that they all have because she doesn't talk about policies. All she says is like, I'm gonna do a thing, not how, not anything. Like she hasn't explained anything. So I hope, I guess, that most Americans that vote, because I know that it's not like a large number of people that vote, it's not the majority of people that vote. I hope that the ones that do vote can see past the bullshit. And sure, like you don't like Trump or whatever, but just think back as to what the last 3 years have been. That's what the next four are going to be, if not worse.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping that you guys are awake enough to see that and not just because like World War III is just around the corner, and I honestly believe that this shit would not have happened if you had a cocky president like Trump, because when he was in there, like it wasn't happening, and now everyone's seeing that there's no precedent, so of course the world is in chaos. I don't want to have to not travel to the States because it's in a war conflict, or I don't even know what would happen to us here. So it's scary. I just at the same time, I feel like your system is so fucked that even if there was enough people voted for Trump, they have enough things in the machine where they can just give it to her just like they did with Biden. So
I
at the
don't think
same,
that's the case this time around, and
no,
I'll tell you why. They first of all, they wouldn't be trying to kill him once a month if that was
fair.
so
Mhm.
easy. I think
Yeah,
the COVID issue allowed room for an
yeah,
open door to bring in thousands and thousands of
million.
ballots, and
Yeah,
they don't have that now. Some of the states will try that. I don't know if it's going to be enough. So my brain tells me to believe everything I'm seeing, and that the pollsters learned enough of a lesson from 2016 and 2020 that they're probably the most accurate they've been in a few elections, which would still favor Trump ultimately. Because let's say it was 60% wrong in 2016, where they're saying Hillary Clinton has a 98% chance of winning, and that's the New York Times, 98% chance of winning. Okay. All right. 2020. Well, Biden's probably going to win, and Biden did win it, but by a much slimmer margin than what we could have ever expected. It's the most turnout for votes in the history
yeah.
of any presidential election. This time around, I would assume that the pollsters are probably about 5 to 10% off. It's probably not that much. Maybe actually more like 10, 10, not 5. They're about 10% off. And frankly, to be 5% off in many of these states would be enough, would be enough for Trump to win. And I don't think if, the ideas behind the 2020 election where maybe they stuffed the ballot box, which I've made clear I believe that's the case.
Yeah.
And you've said that as well. If they were to try that again, I don't know if it would be enough. And there wouldn't be as much room and people know what to expect. They would have to like do full on hacking of the machines, which maybe they could do, right? Maybe they could do that. But intuitively, I feel like he's going to win. So
Uh,
I don't know. I don't know what,
it's
what,
just
what we're in for, but here's what I do think is going to happen if he does win is maybe a little social unrest. I don't think a lot. I think what would really happen is they're going to try like hell before he gets inaugurated to kill him. And
okay.
then maybe
Yeah.
they will kill him in office. I don't think there's a timeline we're looking at where Donald Trump finishes his 4 year term and retires without any criminal cases and just a happy life like every other president. I think they kill him while he's in office. And then you get another civil war. That's my prediction. If he wins, I think that's the road we're going down.
It wouldn't surprise me, honestly. Um, ah,
It's a very pessimistic, dark view, but then maybe they circumvent all of that and Kamala's President Kamala, and you have creepy pedophile Tim Walz, captain of the gay club in 1997 high school. Why is that guy the captain of the gay? I don't know. Maybe he
what
likes
is that
to
a thing? Is
wrestle.
that a real thing?
Yeah,
Is that a
that
thing?
was a
Okay.
thing. It was a
Well, gay
thing.
was happy, right?
No, it was a
Happy
gay,
to
gay,
suck
gay.
dick.
No, I don't
Happy to
know.
suck
I think it was
dicks.
more like your high school experience in New Mexico, shower
Yeah.
time. The gay
Happy to
club
just
is
be,
just convenient gym time showering.
yeah. Fuck. It's dire to think about because I can see them killing him and then what will you do if a civil war starts? Would you flee the
Um,
country?
I don't even.
Because
I see. Here's the thing about entertaining a question like that is you're either the tough guy or you're the coward based off how you answer. And frankly, I don't know what my answer to that would be unless the situation truly presented itself in front of me. Because I'd like to believe if I thought enough was on the line that I'd fight in the Civil War, you know. But
really,
at the same
I'm
time,
I'm a coward. Fuck
yeah, I got
that.
an American flag above my bed.
Yeah.
I believe in the country. I like the country, but I don't like
Yeah.
where it's at now. And I don't know.
Would you die for your country?
I don't know. I mean, I got look
Okay.
at I got a red, white, and blue American sweatband on right now. You're asking me these questions. I
All right.
think
Well, let me.
if I believed in what the future of the country could be, then yeah.
Uh-huh.
But if I
Okay.
don't, and right now I don't know if it's repairable. It doesn't seem like it might be. I think
Mm,
this might just be the death spiral, but we don't know. We don't know. So I think that's a game time decision to really make. I can't really comment one way or the other and give you a real answer. But I'd like to believe if I believed in anything. I do believe in free speech. I believe in a lot of American values that I'd be willing to die for them because I think I am.
okay. I believe in those values. I'm not willing to die for any fucking flag or anything. I
No, I don't
seriously
think
have
so.
I have zero conviction when it comes to like. And I was talking to my mom the other day about this because she was like, "It's weird that you don't have like an identity with any country." And I was like, "Yeah,
But I
I
think
feel
I think
zero
that's a lot of
connection."
people in our age
Yeah,
group is that has passed because culture has fragmented so much. It's not an
yeah.
important thing like it used to be. So you're either
I've I've also
religious.
I've never stuck around in any place for long enough for me to give a shit about the place either. So
Yeah, you could
so it's a
claim
lot of that.
identity
Yeah,
to any country, really, and countries
yeah,
you haven't lived in. You could be German, you could be China, you could be whatever
yeah.
you want. I mean, how do you pick?
I don't. I don't care about
Exactly.
any of them. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't care. I don't think. I don't know. I feel like wars are always fought not for you.
Hmm.
So whenever a soldier is sacrificed, it's like, oh my God, that's so brave. And we're gonna wrap a flag on your casket and you'll be remembered by writing your name on a piece of whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this ties back to kind of what I was saying at the beginning of the show, and maybe this is a good way to wrap it up. Is the spoils of victory are never what you think they're going to be.
Yep,
So you
exactly.
don't get that maybe you do in some circumstances. You get that fist pump moment where it's like, we did it. We fucking got through. And then that's it. You
And
don't
then yeah,
really
what's
feel
next?
what
Yeah,
the victory is. You either preserve something, which you had to begin with, and you had to go through hell just to protect, and you got to do it. But you don't
yeah.
really get the fireworks moment. You get a lot of bad memories. But that doesn't mean it's not worth fighting for. Maybe I don't know. I think it's a case by case situation because I'm sure the guys who got shipped to Iraq and Vietnam certainly have their regrets for what they did.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We're not.
Afghanistan or
Yeah.
Iraq or or
Any
any other
really
war in
any
the past
war that
20 years.
followed World War II, I would say, is probably
Yeah.
mostly unnecessary. And even a lot of people
Yeah.
would make the claim that World War II. I don't know. Was it that necessary for America? Doesn't really seem like it. Maybe it was. I don't know. I haven't done my reading.
Yeah,
But anyway,
was Hitler that wrong? Are
well,
we
that's the
ready to
TikTok
ask
trend of
that
today. Is they
question?
finally did an AI translation on Hitler, and people are like, he's kind of making. I don't know. He's got. I would never say that. I love the Jewish people. Go. This is a Zionist podcast. Everybody knows that. Hans said it himself. Episode 1. He's a Zionist. I don't know, but I would never say that.
I mean, I'm German. Very close to my roots. I identify with my German
Yes.
background a lot.
Yeah. But anyway, I've got Mexican food. Speaking of lovely, beautiful
Oh,
Mexico,
nice.
New Mexican experience, I got Mexican food waiting for me. So that's the end
Hell
of
yeah.
B Bang.